Welcome to Ultra Uncovered. I'm Corinne Shalvoy, and this is another Fireroad episode. Today we're talking about the one and only Western States 100, and we are going to be chatting through some individuals running this year's race who might not be on your radar. So we have a special guest co-host today. It is my husband, Graham Shalvoy. Graham, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, our other co-host, Russell Ditsworth, is here in the house as well.
Hi, everybody. Excited to talk about Western States and excited to talk a little bit about some folks that, again, you might not be thinking of when we hear all of the prognostications for Western States in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so of course there's going to be a lot of media and a lot of prediction shows about Western States, and Russ would not let us go without having an episode about Western, but we weren't going to do one about the race because there's so much good documentation already out there. People know a ton about the course itself. So instead, we're going to just do a Fireroad episode. We're each going to talk through 3 individuals who are particularly interesting to each of us. And then at the end of the episode, we are going to give our predictions for Fantasy Free Trail, top 10 men and women. And to start it off, we're going to start with hot takes because no one starts with hot takes. We have a couple. Graham, you have a hot take. You're just going to jump right in. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, after looking at Fantasy Free Trail and checking out the men's and women's field, especially the top athletes, I think Black Canyon 100K was a more competitive race, objectively, than Western States this year. I was, a little surprised at the depth, maybe. Western States is always going to be deep, right? But every year that goes by, we're always like, oh yeah, 25 people could win this race. I don't think 25 people could win this race this year.
Woo! Spicy hot take. Okay, I'm going to back up my husband a little bit. And I tried to go Liam Aid Station Fireball and find some stats. And the one I could find, yes, it's a much larger race, Black Canyon 100K. There are 600 runners in that race, and there's only how many, Russ, in Western? I should know this number. How many?
Like 350.
350. Okay, so much larger race. But how's this for a stat? The Western States Free Trail, okay, has 23 men with a 90 or higher ultra sign-up score and 24 women with a 90 or higher ultra sign-up score that are running Western States this year. Black Canyon 100K 2024, according to Free Trail, had 63 men with a 90 or higher and 52 women with a 90 or higher on ultra sign-up. So you could say that it was deeper if you want to look at ultra sign up as a gauge for that, and how many people were at a 90 or higher on ultra sign up that ran those races.
So it was more competitive.
We'll let the audience decide. They can weigh in. You can comment. It was very, very, very competitive this year for sure. Okay. We have one more hot take that Russ will divulge when he talks about his top 10. But to start out, let's hear your first person that we are going to chat through. Russell, tell us who you want to talk about.
All right, so the first name that I'm going to bring up, and one of our rules for picking out these names was that it couldn't be anybody that was returning in the top 10, so it couldn't be top 10 returners, and it also could not be anybody who is entered in the race based on winning a golden ticket. If you've won a golden ticket, you are automatically a contender and a name that is somebody that people should be worried about in this race. So those were our 2 caveats. So my first name is somebody who has previously won the race, but they are not a returning top 10 participant, and that's Casey Lichtai. She is returning for her 10th in a row Western States finish. And what's interesting about Casey is that she's finished everywhere from first on the podium, taking home the Cougar, all the way to an over 24-hour finish and the other buckle throughout. So she has gutted out finishes. She has started the race when she hasn't had perfect training and injury, but she is on number 10 in a row. Her very first Western States was in 2014 with a 20-hour finish and a 6th place, and it kept getting better throughout there all the way to her win in 2016 in 17:57, so just under 18 hours. So I'm really excited to see what she can do here. it's crazy if you look at the times and what those represent for women's finishes and the places. Sometimes a 19-hour finish is outside of the top 10, and sometimes a 19-hour finish, like in 2015, was second place for Casey. So it's very interesting, and I'm really excited to see what she can do. I like a little spoiler. I like her to sneak into the top 10 this year. Her training has been looking like Casey of old, so excited to see what she can do.
Absolutely. On a quick personal note, I ran Pikes Peak Ultra 50 miler, and for probably 2 hours, she and I ran together, and she is the nicest person, and she was a blast to run with. So I'm really pulling for her.
She's kind of like the golden child of Western States in this era. Yeah. She talks so much about how she loves the atmosphere of the race, how it means so much to her. And I think like just how special it's going to be is really going to be motivation for her this year, that this is maybe one of the last times we'll see somebody do 10 in a row because of the nature of the competition now, and, you know, the lottery system. It might not happen again. So it's very much a historic kind of thing that's going on with Casey. So go Casey. Woo, we love you. Okay. All right, Graham, who do you have?
So I have somebody who seems to fly under the radar perpetually, and he should never, which is Nick Curry. Nick Curry, in his recent kind of build-up, won and set the course record for the Hot Foot Hamster, which I'm not super familiar with that race. It's a 6-hour race, but he ran 53 miles. And I think the most impressive part in true Nick Curry fashion is he was running like the first 10 miles at like 7:10 pace. And then every 10 miles after got faster and faster and faster. And then so into the like 50s, he was running like 6:15 pace. And then for the last mile, he ran a 5:24 at 53 miles. So clearly he's very fit going into this race. Like Russ, with you and Casey, she's sneaking into your top 10. Nick is sneaking into my top 10 on the official top 10. So yeah, I think he's really fit. He's run like 140-mile weeks for the last 8 weeks or so. So he's going in with a lot of training, and people just aren't talking about him. And they don't usually, even though he's got so many records and such. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people in a strange way.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, to basically run a 50-mile timed event as a progression run, as a training for Western States. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, Nick is like very consistent too, and obviously the master of negative splitting. Wouldn't be surprised if he's just taking it easy the first 20 miles of the race, and then we just see him move up and up and up.
I totally agree. That's exactly how I think he's going to run it.
Yeah. Sweet. Go Nick. All right. So the first person I want to mention is someone who I have the honor of pacing this year. I also paced her at Hard Rock last year, and her name is Betsy Kalmeyer. For those who may not be really deep in ultra running history, Betsy is one of the probably most decorated female ultra runners of all time. Betsy has run 66 ultras that are on ultra sign up, not even considering any that might not be on there. She held the record on the Colorado Trail until just last year. She is now 62 years old, and she'll be running Western States this year for the first time ever. She has run every other classic race, Wasatch, Leadville. She's run Hard Rock 21 times, and maybe that's why she never ran Western, because she was just too busy with this 2-decade-long project called Hard Rock. She won Hard Rock multiple times, and she's run under 30 hours at Hard Rock in the past. So if we think about the fact that the cutoff for Western States is 30 hours, yes, she's 62 years old now, but she lives at 10,000 feet in Leadville. And, I just think that she's a legend. And I've seen firsthand the grit that she has in getting a task completed. I think she only has a very small handful of DNFs ever in her decades and decades of racing. So I think I'm just super excited for her to have this opportunity as the silver legend. And I can't wait to hopefully run with her the last 20 miles of the race and be with her on the track to see her finish Western States.
She's definitely going to be somebody that I think will be featured later in the race as they start talking about some of these stories. The Silver Legend recipient and entry recipient is always somebody that's a great story. And so I really hope we get to hear more about that on the live stream as we get going. And selfishly, obviously want to catch some images of you guys working together, working through the back part of the course.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, Russ, who do you have next?
All right, so the next person that I have is a very experienced ultra runner. He's got more than 40 results on ultra sign up, and he is now a masters runner, just turning 40 years old within this past year. And that is Chris Harrington. So he's a former Rabbit elite, and I first came to know him when we were at Leadville, and he was one of the top 10 men coming through Twin Lakes. And this guy just had like the energy of like 50 runners all like piled up into himself. And I'm like, who is this? And I'm finally realized that it's a local Colorado runner, and he ran great that year, and then came back in 2022 and ran himself into the top 5 at Leadville with a 5th place finish in under 19 hours, which is very good on that course. And he has been putting into the lottery for Western States, kind of like a lot of runners out here. I think he was like 32 tickets or something like that, maybe 64. But he's picked this year. He's got some training, has been going pretty good, pretty solid. He ran Quad Rock. I saw him just this past weekend. Graham and I saw him out on Mount Falcon, where he did 4 ascents in 25 miles. So he's looking great, and I'm just really rooting for him to have a great day at Western, like so many of us who are putting our name in the hat year after year and putting in that work and continuing to get the qualifiers. And I'm excited that it's in a year where training is going well, and hopefully he can really enjoy that time, because like you're saying, it's not a race that anybody out there can just go choose to do 10 times in a row. This is kind of his shot, and I think it's real representative of what a lot of us are kind of aspiring towards.
Absolutely. And I also feel like Chris is kind of like an honorary member of Castle Rock Run Club. He's a great guy, and he hangs out with us a lot in Leadville. And yeah, I'd love to see him do well out there.
Dad, I think about to have another child.
Yeah.
Just one of the nicest, like you said, nicest people, always positive. Just like you can tell he just like loves the sport. He loves running. He's in it for all the right reasons. So yeah, also hoping that he has a really great day out there.
Definitely.
Right,
so my
Graham.
my next one is Matthew Urbanski. He's a Colorado runner. He just got 3rd at a local race called the North Fork 50K. His mileage is similar to like what I run. He's been running 70, 80, 90 mile weeks. So more like maybe like a normal ultra runners that exist. But someone maybe not quite at the elite level. But he has been doing ultra since 2008. I've heard about him. He lives on the north side of the city, I think, from just local races. But he's run UTMB, Javelina, almost all the major 100-milers throughout the United States. And as far as I could tell, and I may have missed it, I don't think he's run Western States before. So I'm excited to see a Colorado runner, especially with his resume, get out there and see what he could do, especially in the higher altitude stuff. I think someone like that has a lot of potential to do well in the altitude, and we'll see about the heat. But yeah, I'm excited to have a Colorado runner out there, and he's my number 2 pick.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so my next runner is Mr. Ryan Thrower. He just got off the wait list.
Weight Watcher.
He was famously doing Weight Watchers with Tim Tollefson, WAIT Watchers, which was a brilliant marketing and just kind of like storyline that they created there. He, like Ryan is, as most people probably realize, like one of the hardest workers in this sport, does so much for the sport outside of just running, but he's a really strong runner himself. I mean, to go do things like the Swiss Alps 100, running it with Courtney Dauwalter's husband last year, running it together, like he does a lot of things, and he doesn't come from a running background that are, you know, just very difficult. But I guess talking about Ryan for Western States, I know he's been training as if he would get in. He's been putting in really good work. He's following Hannah Allgood's, you know, plan, and really does want to do whatever he can to be in the best shape for it, because like we've talked about with Chris Harrington, I think he's been putting in for the lottery for 10 years. So a decade of, you know, trying to realize this dream of running Western. I hope that everyone out there takes 8 million pictures of him, since he's always the one taking pictures of other people. I hope he gets like content for years to come from this for himself, because we want to see pictures of Ryan. And he's also going to be paced. I know one of his pacers is going to be Ben Gibbard, who is you know, a famous musician.
Postal Service
and Death Cab for Cutie. Amazing voice. Before I even knew there was any affiliation, like, we love the band Postal Service and Death Cab. Ben Gibbard has one of the best voices. He's a master lyricist. Anyways, he has been in ultra running for a long time. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think Ben's going to be singing When Soul Meets Thrower the whole race. I think he's going to be.
When soul exits body, or like when he's growing up. But actually, Ben Gibbard was someone who paced Brian Morrison during the 2017 Western States when they did the film A Decade On. And so he's actually been at Western States pacing in the past. Like, he's been in the sport for a while.
He's supposed to be a great ultra runner, which is amazing.
It's so cool. I don't know. I know Debo isn't, because he's going to be on the live stream the whole time, but I don't know who his other pacers are. I'm sure they're also epic. But yeah, I'm just super.
Metallica might be second pacer.
No, I don't know. I think they know Portugal the Man as well. Maybe it's just a full music. It's just musicians. Okay, so my ask of Ryan is, please make a documentary of your race, only with like no talking, just with music, because he loves music. I think it'd be super cool to like make a short film, and it just be like Western States through a musical lens, and like have like a bunch of different, you know, songs that, I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. That's my idea. But Ryan's awesome. He has the best like attitude and spirit, and I'm really excited that he gets to race this year.
Yeah, he was running with Ben Gibbard yesterday when he found out that he got in. So his Strava post was like him and Ben on the top of some peak.
Yeah. It's super cool. Okay, Russ, you have one more?
All right. Last one for me is a what I'll call a younger runner. He's 31, but I came to know him also through the Leadville 100 and his performances there. He is a Leadville native. So he lives in Leadville. His training is basically like running up to Mosquito Pass every day, even in the depths of winter on the middle of snow. And this guy's name is Devin Vennard, and he is. I've been following him since Leadville 2022, where I paced our good friend Todd Dill, and Devin finished around the same time period. I think he maybe finished 14th that day. So he was running in the top 20, ran around 21 hours in Leadville. He has run Run Rabbit Run twice and has finished in the top 10 in the Hares, ran 21 hours at Run Rabbit last year, and is just like a beast in the mountains. And this guy trains at altitude at 10,000 feet. So he's got that piece of it dialed. His training on Strava, you know, I kind of think like, okay, this is a mountain guy. Maybe he's just like not dialed too much on his training. Yeah, he's running a lot or whatever. No, this guy is like straight line increase on mileage from, 70, 80 miles a week. And it is like an even 5 miles increase a week all the way to 120 miles, where he's held for like 3 weeks, and now he's tapering down and he's doing all the heat training. He's doing all the things to make his mark here. And so I think that I could see him trying to go out hot early and just mix it up and see what would happen. And I'm really rooting for him to do well. So that's Devin Vennard from Leadville, Colorado.
Love it. That's awesome. My next one and my last one is Maddie Wighart, who is a Canadian. She came onto our radar because she got third at Leadville last year. She also ran top 10 at JFK, which is a very fast race. And I was checking out her training. She's been up in the 100 to 110 mile week range. Miles a week for the last 6 weeks or so. So her training looked really impressive. She's 22 years old. I think she just graduated from college. She's on a sponsor and training, and I'd love to see her turn some heads. I think if she doesn't turn heads this year, if she doesn't get top 20 or whatever, I think she's someone to watch for the future. So kind of the personal story we've got with her is we were asked if we had anybody who's going to be up at Leadville who could pace an athlete who was coming in from out of town.
Asked by her coach, Addie Bracey.
Yep.
Because I had been talking with Addie. She said I'm going to support a runner, but we need some more pacers. And go ahead.
Yeah. So our friends Christian and Matt kind of raised their hand, said they would do it, and they jumped in and they ran the last 2 legs with her. And when we talked to them afterwards, it seemed like they were instrumental in her finishing well in that race. Yeah, we're excited to see her line up at Western and see if a 22-year-old Canadian woman can turn some heads.
Yeah, next time, Addie, you asked me to find pacers, I need to know that this woman's like gunning for the podium. Not that Christian and Matt did a fantastic job, but it was so fun to find out afterwards. We're like, who did you pace? The girl that got third in the race. We're like, dang. And it was I guess it was competitive and they had so much fun pushing her. And it was just like, it worked out. Yeah. Brilliantly. But that's a pretty cool story to have a connection to her.
Yeah.
For Leadville. So. Sweet. All right. My last person I want to highlight is someone everybody knows, but I think I just want to talk about her because she is so amazing. I feel like I can kind of call her a friend because she's been on the Free Trail Femmes and I've talked with her and she donated to our Ridgeline Revel Gala. And so I feel like I know her a little bit, but that is Miss Sally McRae. And Sally famously, ran Western when she was very early in her running career. And that was documented in one of the probably most watched films about Western other than Unbreakable. It's called Western Time, correct? Yeah, I think it's Western Time.
Billy Yang.
Billy Yang. Yeah, exactly. So this is a decade after she ran it for the last time, that she's going to be running it again. She's run it 3 times, placed 7th was her highest placing. And each year she's run between 20 and 21 hours and change. I think that with, 7+ years of the experience that she's had and the projects that she has done, I'm like super excited for her to go back to Western. And I don't think anybody should sleep on her because if there's one person in the race who has the toughest mentality and like mental game, I think it's Sally McRae. I think that anybody listens to Sally McRae and they feel like they can do absolutely anything. It's like you just want to like run through a brick wall after you listen to her. She's so motivational. And so if that is what she's conveying to other people, I can't even imagine what she's able to tell herself in these races. This is going to be a short race for her at 100 miles after everything she did in the last couple years. And, historically she was coached by Ann Trayson at one point. I mean, the wealth of knowledge of like experience and coaching and expertise that she has. She's been out on the course multiple times for training camps. She is super disciplined and methodical. She has all of the strength components needed for the climbing in this race. And she said that she had PR'd multiple segments in her training. And, according to Strava, which she must be private on Strava because I don't think I can see anything, but she's comparing to even when she was racing. So that tells me she's in excellent shape. And I think, the finish she has combined with all of the experience and the know-how and the mental game that she's bringing, I'm like really excited to see her just throw down out there.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Like you might compare this to like Eliud Kipchoge going from like marathon back to like the 5K or something like that. She is moving back in distance. And one of the things that I love about Sally is like she's got things that like she said something on a podcast recently that is going to stick with me through summer training. And that is something that she really embraces is that you don't have to wait to win the race to train like a champion, and she knows what she needs to do to be successful at Western States, and she's not like resting on any laurels, or she's not like saying like, oh, I can't do that because now I've transitioned to these 200 milers and things like that. She's doing what she needs to do to be successful, and I just love that quote. And yeah, I mean, she's putting in the work.
Yeah, I'll listen to her on a podcast anytime just to hear her laugh. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, she's got the best laugh.
She does.
And what she's not resting on her laurels, but what she is doing is resting. Whereas she ran 4 200 milers last year, and it was like, I'm going to look at my season as this entire project. This year, she hasn't raced. Like, this is her goal race. This is her A race, and she's going to be racing it. And she is competitive. She's fierce. I know that she is just going to, she really wants to go sub 20, I heard her say. And I think she's going to surprise herself. And, depending on conditions and weather, I think that she's going to definitely have a PR. And I wouldn't be surprised if she sneaks up and starts to get competitive at the end.
And I think the worse the conditions are, the better for her. I think her strength is stronger than her speed. So I think if it gets really gnarly, Sally moves up.
Yeah. All right, let's go, Sally. Woo! Yes. Okay. So those are all of our people. Tell us who else, if you are listening or watching, tell us who else has an interesting story, because there's tons and tons of them, but we'd love to hear, who else you're paying attention to at this year's race. So do you guys want to go through top 10?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with the women.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and kick this off because this aligns with my hot take for Western States. I think that I don't know if this is common among people that are thinking about these races, but I think that the people that are favored to win the race, I think it's going to be very common among people that might think that the same person is going to win the race. And I think for my side, I'm saying that the hot take is one of the winners will be an unexpected winner. And so I am picking that on the women's side, and I am picking Rachel Drake to take the win at Western States.
In her first 100, Russ. In her first 100?
Absolutely. I've got Rachel. She's got life experience and she's got the right attitude. I've been listening to her on her new. She's got mom strength. She's got it all. So I've got her. I've still got Katie Scheid running a great race and finishing in second. But I think that it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to say that Katie is probably the consensus number one pick on the women's side with her performance last year and how she's led into this year. Has had amazing training. So I'll just run through the rest of my top 10 on the women's side. I've got Heather Jackson in third. I've got Leah Yingling mixing it up for a top 5 spot in the fourth position. I've got Emily Hawgood in fifth, Yingvild Kaspersen in sixth, Ragna DeBats, Priscilla Forgy, Casey Lichtide with the ninth place finish, and then Esther Chileg in that 10th spot.
Nice. It's awesome. It's good to hear your picks. Now, let me tell you who's actually going to win. I have got Katie Scheid, surprise, number 1. I think Rachel's an unbelievable runner, but man, Katie's training is so good. She was recently on the course in Canyons. She looked unreal on that. I don't know. I think she's so good right now. If Katie wasn't in it, I'd say Rachel could take it, but man, I think Katie's just in a league of her own. So I've got Rachel Drake as second, Leah Yingling as third, Ragna DeBats, Priscilla Forgy, Heather Jackson, Esther Sislag, Lottie Brinks, Ingvild Kaspersen, and then Lauren Peretz, who is on our Aerovipa racing team. We do run with her on occasion. I think she could sneak into the top 10. I think she's unexpected for most people, but man, her training is looking really, really good.
Golden ticket winner at Black Canyon.
Black Canyon. the most competitive race in North America right now.
There you go. All right, Corinne, who do you have in the women's field?
All right, so you guys are right in a few areas, but also wrong in a few areas. And Katie is going to win the race. Katie Scheide's going to win the race. And Rachel Drake's going to get second, and that's going to be a massive result for her. And I'm super excited to see her just I think she's got her husband Tyler Green coaching her, who knows this course so well. Like I actually was talking to her the other day, and she was like, "I'm about to go into the sauna and do some core work." I'm like, "Yes, you are. I know you're doing all the things." Yeah, Katie Scheid, Rachel Drake, Esther Chilag was third last year. She's going to be third again this year. I think she knows exactly what to do. She's being crewed by the woman who almost caught her last year, Katie Asmuth. So I think Esther's gonna be on that podium again. Then I think Leah is gonna take fourth in probably her fastest Western to date, and also her best placement of Leah. Heather Jackson is gonna finish the race and have a good Western States in fifth. Ragnar DeBotts, who is a veteran and I believe has the course record or the record for the 40 to 49-year-old on the age range at Western. Ragna is just a pro, and she's going to be sixth. I think Emily Hoggood is going to go seventh. Priscilla Forgy in eighth. Lottie Brinks, who also is being coached by Tyler Green, in ninth. She's got the speed for the last 30 miles, and I think that's going to come out. And then I've got Fu Zhao Zhang in 10th for the women.
Nice.
All right.
Russ, who you got for the men?
All right, so if I pick a surprise winner on the women's side, I don't have to pick a surprise winner on the men's side, and I did not. So I am picking Jim Walmsley to take the Western States Championship. Yes.
Who is that?
He's this runner.
Does he still run?
But he lives in France, so you may not have heard of him, but he might be the best ultra runner in the world right now.
Hey, Russ, real quick, I checked out his Strava, and it doesn't look like he's been running lately.
Jim has gone Strava dark. He's not in 2017 form. He's not in his. I think Zach Miller is pulling the Jim Walmsley from 2017 and posting his 150-mile, 45,000 feet of elevation gain weeks and intimidating the entire Hard Rock field. But that is a different podcast.
Teaser.
So I've got Jim in first place, and I don't have it close. I think he is just going to run away with it.
Okay, how's this? Because we all have Jim winning. What time do you think he's going to run?
I mean, it's so dependent on how it is in the high country, because he's made the mistake before of pushing in the high country, trying to hit splits when he shouldn't have. And so I think it's really dependent, but man, if it's got good conditions, I very much could see him going under 14 hours. The course record right now is 14:06. Less than 15 people have gone under 15 hours, but the winning times have gone faster and faster as the years go. And I just see Jim. He knows this course. He knows exactly what to do and where to be. He had this one nailed and has taken a break to go crack the UTMB egg. He's gotten that done. I just think he knows what to do on this course, and it's not going to be close.
And I think this year, just based on how warm it's been in California, I think there'll be some snow, but not a ton of snow. My biggest worry is it's 105 in the canyons. You never know. It could be a cooler year like last year. But just based on what the weather's been doing and kind of it shifting to a La Nina pattern, I think there's a high likelihood it's warm this year.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Could be fast initially in the cool weather and some really good splits early. And then if it gets to be 105 and we're still trying to hit splits at 105, it might be trouble for a lot of people.
For sure. Now, is he your entire top 10 or?
So I've got Jim Walmsley and then Jim Walmsley and then no. So I've got Jim.
Jim Walmsley.
It was hard to leave names off of this top 10. There are 25 guys that could easily be in the top 10 of this race. I've got names here, but I feel like I've left a lot of names out that are in. So I've got Hayden Hawks coming back, finishing in second place. I've got Tyler Green, who just seems to know how to finish third here, running another smart race and just being just outside. I could see him and Hayden maybe going back and forth for that second place spot. I've got Dan Jones, who finished fifth last year, finishing in the top 5 again. He seems to run really well in the heat. And then I've got a young runner who ran really well at Black Canyon, got his ticket there, Chris Myers, 23 years old. He's like a Boulder guy, training really well with David Roach and just seeming like he's got everything. The world is his oyster at 23 years old, running super well. So I've got him in 5th place. Ryan Montgomery, who is lighting the training world on fire. I just every time I open Strava, it's crazy to see what he's doing. And so I've got him in 6th place. Simon Gosselin, I've got in 7th place. He was a golden ticket winner in France, right behind Jim in the race that he did, the Nice 100K. John Albin in 8th. Hoopiter in 9th place, the Phenom from Black Canyon from Mexico. And then I've got Jianshang Shen in 10th place. He was a top finisher last year and a returning top 10 runner from China.
Awesome. Mine actually is not too different than yours. Some people are in different spots, but a lot of very similar people. So I've got Jim winning the race. There's maybe he takes a wrong turn, but I doubt it. Outside of that, I think he's kind of unstoppable here, as long as he's in good form, which he probably will be. I've got Hayden going second. I mean, his Black Canyon race was just so fantastic. I think he's super dialed. His training looks really, really good as of late. I've got Jonathan Albin as third. That man isn't super well known in the United States, but man, he's done some stuff at some of the UTMB races. He's very, very good. So I've got him, and then I've got Jupiter in 4th. Also an amazing Black Canyon. I think turned everybody's head because no one had any idea who he was. And then they looked him up and they're like, oh yeah, he's real fast. So yeah, I think he's going to go 4th. 5th, Tyler Green, super consistent, really fantastic runner. 6th, I've also got Chris Myers. I think he is looking for a breakout, and I think he'll get it. Jijin Chen, who did well last year at Western States. I think he could do well again. Dan Jones in 8th, who's been training with Hayden. Then Ryan Montgomery in 9th. I could also see Ryan Montgomery in 5th. The 5th through 10th, it's kind of like you just kind of don't know. It depends on the day they have, I think. I think Ryan Montgomery's training looks amazing, and I think a lot of him, so I hope he does super well. And then I've got Nick Curry in 10th. I think he is going to sneak up on some people, especially at the end. I think he's going to run that final 5 miles, which a lot of people are going to have to hike, and I think he's going to crush it.
Okay, well, you guys missed a couple people. All right, Jim's winning. Go, Jim. Tyler Green's getting second. I just think he's a master at this race, and he keeps getting better and better. And I think that he is going to come in right behind Jim, not right behind him, but after Jim. And then Jijan Shen is going to take 3rd, and then Ryan Montgomery is going to be in 4th. Mr. Cole Watson, who is the hometown hero, is going to be in 5th. Dan Jones, 6th. John Albin, 7th. Nick Curry is going to sneak all the way up to 8th. Running negative splits and be sprinting a 60-second 400 around the track. Just kidding. And then Dakota Jones is going to be in the top 10, guys. Come on. I mean, after Javelina, like, what are you guys thinking? Dakota Jones has not, he's going to do it. He shows up, he races, he competes. He's going to maybe get up into that top 5, and then he's going to have an issue, but then he's going to end up being
It's not going to be last year's race.
And then somebody who used to be on our Viper racing team, but who has graduated to a shiny new Nike sponsorship, Mr. Caleb Olson is going to be in the top 10. He is someone people are going to sleep on. Nobody's going to pay attention to him. And then all of a sudden he's just going to do what he does, which is be super competitive and really difficult.
I think
really
he did really well
races.
at UTCT.
UTCT, Worlds. He mixes it up with this level of competitor in most of his races. So I think he's gone top 10, and he has the whole Utah, Leah contingency, like their whole pack is
If you hang out with Leah, you do well.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
probably why Rachel's moving there. You hang out with Leah and do well.
Well, vice versa. Also, you hang out with Rachel, you do well. So then,
Absolutely.
yes. So yeah, that's my top 10 for the guys.
I can't argue with any of that. Like I said, it was hard to leave some names off of that top 10 list.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anything else about Western that you guys want to mention that you think's unique this year? I'm going to be there. Woohoo!
Yeah, so I am going to be listening to it early and then running Leadville Trail Marathon and then listening to it after I'm done. So
Yeah.
I will be paying attention to the live stream. But Leadville Trail Marathon and Western States are on the same day this year at the very end of June. I was looking back. Sometimes the Western States is as early as like June 23rd, I think. So yeah, not very common that those two races line up on exactly the same day.
Well, I'm excited because I think I'll get, when I finish Run Rabbit Run this year, I'll get another ticket. So that gives me 2 tickets. So I'm already starting to kind of plan for my running of Western States for next year.
I think it's a very high likelihood that you get it with 2 tickets.
I'm thinking I should probably get an Airbnb right now.
Yeah, I think it's like 50-50 shot for you.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm just excited to see it and experience all the magic in person for the first time, supporting some athletes and actually getting to be on parts of the course that, I've run a little bit of maybe the section I'll run with Betsy at the end of Canyons, but just seeing the whole thing go down and the spectacle and trying to find a parking spot at Forest Hill and all of that will be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
There's lots to follow. Free Trails doing all kinds of stuff leading up, and then of course the great live commentary with Mountain Outpost doing the, kind of the coverage from a production standpoint. I hear there are going to be spectacular drone shots that have not existed in the past, and the production is going to be just that much more leveled up. Super excited, and yeah, we hope you guys are too. Let us know what you're most excited about, and if you have anybody but Jim or Rachel or Katie winning the race, we'd love to know. All right, bye.